Hello everybody and welcome to Talking Sports. An interesting video today. It's really a combination of rugby league and football. We have to talk about the Super League news, and you're going to be asking me, what Super League? The European Super League or the Rugby League Super League? Well, both. The question of today's video is very simple. Should the Rugby League competition, our Rugby League competition, the premier, the best, the number one Rugby League competition in Britain, the Super League, should it change its name and rebrand on the back of the news on Thursday's news, which saw the formation or the reformation of the European Super League, the potential new football competition? Now, for those watching who are not football fans, let's go through this a little bit. Let's go through the European Super League a little bit, because in 2021, you may remember the European Super League first came about. It was supposed to be a competition that is an alternative to the Champions League, essentially a breakaway league, a 15-team league, where there's no relegation or promotion, where you have your 15 teams that are handpicked, you're the most wealthiest teams that offer the most money, playing each other in the biggest games week in, week out. That was their plan. A lot of the Premier League clubs, the big clubs, went for it, and within hours they had to back out. The fans were protesting. The UEFA tried everything they could to block it, and inevitably the European Super League never went ahead. A court battle ensued between the European Super League and UEFA, and on Thursday, the European Court of Justice ruled that UEFA's actions in blocking the European Super League were contrary to the European Union's competition law. They didn't like the fact that UEFA almost had this monopoly over their entire sport of football on this continent. With that in mind, the European Super League's door opened for a second time, which is why on Thursday, the competition, or should I say the company that owns it, Group A22, put out a plan to have the Super League start in 2025. They had this big presentation. They had a video explaining the format. There would be 3 different competitions, almost mirroring the Champions League, Europa League, and the Europa Conference League. They addressed the problem of sporting integrity. It wouldn't be a 15-team league. It would be teams coming in and out, promotion, relegation, all that jazz. And it was an idea driven obviously by Barcelona and Real Madrid, who have been main instigators behind this. They've been pushing for this European Super League. They need more cash, and this is their idea of getting their hands on it. However, they have not found much backing. So the likes of Man United, Man City, Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund, PSG, Chelsea, Tottenham, all the big teams in the world of football. You might question Tottenham, but all the major clubs in Europe, a lot of the major clubs in Europe, should I say, have not gone ahead on this occasion. They got their fingers burnt last time. The fans were fuming with a lot of the British clubs as well for even attempting to go ahead with this. So a lot of the clubs on this occasion have said no, but I wouldn't say that this is a done deal, that this is not happening. The European Super League, they've tried it once, it didn't work. They tried it for a second time. It looks like it's not going to work, but don't think that they're not going to come back at it again. I think the money is there. When the checkbook eventually comes out, and the big cheeses over at Man United, Man City, or whichever club you want to talk about, when they see the number of zeros on a checkbook, opinions can be easily swayed. Money talks in sport, and I think we will see that as the European Super League attempts one more time to get its foothold in the game, to start. They want to start in 2025. I don't know if that's enough time. Maybe 2026, maybe 2027. But I reckon eventually the European Super League will become a thing. And that's going to be a problem for our Super League, the Rugby League Super League. Because here's the thing. When you type in Super League into Google today, you will have a lot of football news on the left-hand side. And you will on the right side, you will have a link to the Wikipedia page for the European Super League. Not the Rugby League competition, but the football competition. The digital footprint is going to be dominated by the football, by the European Super League, if the competition does eventually go ahead in, whenever it is, in 2 years' time, in 3 years' time, in 4 years' time. My question is, do we really want that arm wrestle? Does Super League, the Rugby League competition, want to fight over the digital space, the footprint, with a footballing giant that could be the European Super League. Don't forget, if this competition goes ahead, it's going to be the biggest teams and the biggest players playing week in, week out. Now, can we really compete with that? Obviously not, because rugby league is a niche sport, especially here in Britain. It's a famous joke that it's all the clubs in the Super, most of the clubs in the Super League are on the M62 corridor. So it's a serious question we have to answer. Is this time for a rebrand? Is this time for a rebrand anyway, whether the Super League goes ahead or not? Because things have been a little bit stale. And one piece of evidence to prove that is the broadcasting revenue. The last TV deal, which has been already signed off, it's reported to be 20 million per year deal for 170 games a season. Now, the last deal from 2017 to 2021, it was a £40 million deal per year for 80 games per season. Now listen, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you've probably been hit by inflation, right? Compare the prices from 2017 to 2023, almost 2024. Compare your gas prices, your food prices, electricity prices, everything has gone up. Yet our main product, the pinnacle of British Rugby League, the Super League, has been halved in price? That is incredible. We've gone from 40 million to 20 million per season, yet we are giving them more than before. Before we gave them 80 games per season. Now we're giving them 170 games per season. Seriously? Everything has gone up, apart from the value of our number one competition. So we're trying to compete. We potentially have to be competing with some of the greatest football players, some of the best football teams in a few years' time, competing over the same competition name. Yet we're struggling right now as we speak. The European Super League hasn't kicked the ball yet. And we've already been submerged underneath all that European Super League football content online. It's going to be tough, and it's only going to get tougher if the European Super League eventually starts. Now here's the thing. If we decide to do a rebrand, a fresh start, I think it could be an opportunity to move in a new direction, something different, something fresh. As things stand, we're going to be struggling. The Super League is already struggling for viewership, and things were going to get worse. You know, we've got the Super League on Thursday nights, and obviously the hardcore Rugby League fans will watch Rugby League no matter what. But the casual fans, which we need to grab, you know what they're going to be watching on Thursday nights? They're going to be watching the Premier League darts. Darts is hot right now. One of the most viewed sports on Sky at the moment. The World Championship darts is on at the moment, and look at the numbers. Look at the numbers not only on television, look at the numbers on social media. Each post, thousands of views, millions of views. The stories that are coming out of that tournament are incredible. Luke Littner, for example. So Thursday nights, forget about it. The Premier League darts is going to have us. Friday nights now, Sky Sports have just signed One Championship, which is a combat sport organisation. Muay Thai, Thai boxing, MMA. Seriously, we're going to struggle because this Friday night One Championship event that happens on a weekly basis is incredible. And our combat sports are the fastest growing sports in the world. And Sky Sports have just signed One Championship, which has potential to be a big player in the combat sport world. It's a tough time for Rugby League right now. The broadcasting revenue is down, viewership is down, potential competition with Super League over the name. It's a very hard time. Is this time for a rebrand? Is this time to change ways? You know, I'm just wondering, I'm really wondering whether the people at the top of the game in Rugby League in Britain, are they even thinking about this? Is this coming up in meetings? Are they worried about this? I think they should be. And if they're not, we could be in trouble by the time the European Super League kicks off in 2025, 2026. If we've made no effort, if we've not even considered it, if this has not even been a talking subject, we could be in trouble. I hope I'm wrong, but I guess we'll see in a couple of years' time. Now, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.